What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Risk Valor. I'm your host, Alyssa, and for those who are new, thank you for joining. This is a platform for women, by women. We tell their incredible stories. They are trailblazers. They are absolute superheroes of their everyday life, and they're here to inspire you through their stories to reach your fullest potential and absolutely kill it at life. Today, I am thrilled to have Courtney Osborne on here. She is preparing for her first bodybuilding competition. She is an expert in weight loss. She has been coaching people for a few years now, many years.
A couple of years, yeah.
Couple years, there we go. And she does that full time. She is on the internet. She's unapologetically herself. She shares so much, and I'm so excited to get into this. So Courtney, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So how's your prep going so far? And do you know what class you're doing, or what's the goal?
So the show that I'm doing, they have a transformation category. So it is for women who have had a significant weight loss over the last 3 years. So everybody still has their loose skin. Everybody has their stretch marks. They have two different categories. One's 0 to 50 pounds lost, and then one's 51 and up. So obviously I'll be in the 51 and up because I've lost about almost 145 pounds in the last 2.5 years.
That is amazing.
My goal is to get to 150 on the scale because that means I've lost half my body weight. So
yes.
But I'm 2.5 weeks out from show right now. Honestly not super worried about the whole physique part of it. More so stressed about the posing and the suit. The suit is so tiny. So
I know that it's uncomfortable too, and they gotta slap it and glue you, and it's just like everyone's up in your business. It's great.
And then they informed me that I'd be standing in a room with hundreds of people naked while I got spray tans. So
yep, that was weird for me at first too. I was like, oh, and they're all just like, where do you look? You're just like having conversations with people who've done it a million times, and I'm there.
I'm gonna be so awkward. I know I am.
It's so incredible. And the fact that you lost 145 pounds, like literally, I already got so many DMs just on the story I put of you. They're like, holy crap, I have zero excuses. Like, you are the perfect example of no excuses. Like, and I'm sure you've been slaving away at this.
That was the whole goal though, is like, I have 4 kids. I work a full-time job. Whenever I first started this, I was in a full-time corporate job. So it was even a little harder. Like right now, yes, I work a full-time job, but it is my job to be in shape.
Yes.
So, but whenever I first started, I was in the corporate world. I have 4 kids. I had a husband at the time.
Yeah.
So like I was doing the whole housewife and mom life and everything all at once. So I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. There are excuses. Some are valid, but they're still that excuses. So
exactly. Like not being tied to your circumstances, and that's something I talk about a lot because I'm like, hell, a single parent, like, and it, like, with 4 kids. So the fact that you have 4 kids and like you're still doing all these things and you're not losing yourself in the process, which is another thing I like to talk about, is just because you're a mom doesn't mean you have to sacrifice who you are, your hobbies, your this, your that. I think it's very important that you stick to what you want to do. And like, so far with your prep, what's been the biggest challenge with it so far?
So it was kind of easy at first because I've done sort of, I guess it's considered a long prep. This is my first time, but I started at like 25 weeks. So I've been doing it, for a while now. And at first it wasn't anything different. But once we started to like up cardio and had to get more strict on food and stuff, then that came with more gym time. Well, as a single parent, I have them, 75% of the time, but they only can be in the daycare at the gym for an hour and a half a day. So I'm like, I've got to do a workout. I've got to get all this cardio in. So like, I've had to like make adjustments. I've had to take them on walks with me. I've had to walk the track at the gym with them. I'm like, all right, y'all run. I'll do my cardio with you. I bought a bike for the house. So like, it's just making adjustments like that. As far as like the food part though, nothing's really changed. I've been cooking 3 dinners a night since I started because everybody eats something different. So
ain't that the truth? I mean, you have it times 4.
So I eat my meal prep or cook whatever I'm eating, and then I have my 5-year-old's on the spectrum, so he only eats like things that taste the same every single time. Well, I don't want to, punish the other kids by making them eat the same thing every single day. So he'll get his meal, I get mine, and then whatever the other kids want. So
That's amazing. I mean, that's so true. And I only have one, and his is very, chicken nuggets or peanut butter and jelly or pizza. And I'm like, you can't eat that every single day. But it's the fact that they get to eat the yummies, and then I'm sitting here eating, chicken breast or ground. If I look at another package of ground turkey, I might throw up.
I hate ground turkey. So
I hate it so much. I'm like anything else. Like, give me a fish, something in there.
Yeah,
I love that. So
the same way.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, how are you? Like, obviously you've adapted. And that's, I know I had another competitor on here. She didn't have any kids, but she had to adapt too with COVID. Depending on the state that you're in,
oh yeah,
there were different restrictions. So depending on what you're doing, how do you find balance? Balance is a very weird thing that doesn't really exist, I think. But go ahead and share your balance, because I know a lot of people will wonder how you do it.
It's day to day, honestly. Like today, I woke up at like 4, got in an hour of cardio, and then I spend a little bit of time by myself because it's important for my sanity. So I spent an hour and a half by myself, just literally watching TV. I know, like, that's like the least productive thing I do, and I feel bad for an hour and a half of TV. But I watched an hour and a half of TV, and then I started waking everybody up because we have to get to the gym right at 8 o'clock because that's when childcare opens. And in the summer, like, everybody's bringing all their kids, so I'm like, we're not losing our spot, and my kids take up 1/3 of their max limit. So I'm like, we get there right at 8 o'clock. I get my workout in, so they do their little workout class at the gym. We come home, I work for probably 4 to 5 hours, and then today, like, I'll try to take 2 to 3 hours to do something fun with them. So today we went and spent time at the pool, and then we came back, and then they went to their dad. So it's just like it's literally day to day, but I try to take a solid 2 hours every day to just focus on them, put my phone on do not disturb, and just rock it out. It's a little bit easier whenever they're in school, because that way I at least have like the silent hours to do all my stuff. And then so it's just a lot.
It is. And it's like routine, because routine is so important for sometimes kids too. I think having some kind of routine, but it's like I feel like I'm pulling my hair out sometimes. I'm like,
in
the summer schedule, camps are different hours. I'm like, the gyms are different sometimes. I'm like, I can't just bring them to work with me every day. When I do, I'm like, so I'm trying to
that
do
is
sales.
where I'm lucky, is that I can have them home with me all day every day. But then I'm like, I underestimated people who worked from home and kept their kids at home with them, because I was like, I don't need to pay for childcare for the summer. And I'm like, next summer we will be paying for childcare.
Like, I will budget this, because
I will save all year long if I have to.
because right now he's like hanging out with the neighbors, and I'm like, whenever he comes home, it's like, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is my like me time, right? I'm like, I'm in the microphone room. That's what I call it, the microphone room.
Well, I'll say, if you just sit down for 20 minutes while I do this call, then I'll give you a prize. And everybody's like, oh, okay.
Ooh, a prize. Well, it's like, oh, what is it? Like, it's a hug. Like, they don't have to know.
It's like, congrats, you get a hug.
Yeah. So what would you say for other women listening, and possibly other men too? There are men who listen to the channel, strategies and techniques that have worked for you to stay motivated? Because I'm sure you've seen everywhere. Motivation is it's a fleeting thing. I like to say it's discipline.
That's exactly what I say. Because I get that all the time. How do you stay motivated? I don't. Like, I cannot tell you that I wake up every single day just ready to do it. It literally comes down to your level of discipline. Because like in the beginning, I was 300 pounds, and whenever I was losing 5, 6, 7 pounds a week, I'm like, oh, this is great. It's easy to stay motivated whenever you're losing weight like that. But now that I'm like, I don't have as much to lose, and I might see, half a pound a week or half a pound every couple weeks, it's like harder, but it's just staying focused on the main goal. Like, that's whenever those progress pictures or measurements come into play. Like, you got to find other means to be able to see the progress. Like, I know the people that follow me on social media get so sick of me posting side by side photos. That is my way of staying motivated. Like, seeing the big difference is my way of being like, hey, I did this. Like, I can keep going. Or hearing people say, like you said, that I inspire somebody, like that I have the means to inspire somebody to think, oh, I can do that if she can do it, then that keeps me going.
No, absolutely. And that's like 100% why I got you on here. I'm like, you are an inspiration. And I love the zero excuse thing because it's so important. We can give ourselves excuses and the easy way out, you know, it's
Yeah.
easier to do that than take the right, the path that's, more difficult. The commitment, commitment is hard, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of excuses out there.
And even in my new client consults, I'll tell people all the time that there are valid excuses. There are some excuses
Mm-hmm.
that are legit, but they're still excuses. So
It's like
I
how
mean,
you
you just,
combat that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure with some of your clients, I mean, so as a coach, or would you say you're more of a tough love coach or
So yes, Dustin,
okay.
who I worked for that you
Yeah.
met,
Hmm.
he is the babier. They go to him
Okay. The compassion.
if they want a little pat on the back. But if they're like, I need more tough love, he's like, all right, I'm gonna send you to Courtney. Because I'm like, just suck it up, get shit done. Like, you know what you
Yeah.
need to do it.
Hmm.
Like, that's the end of it.
I love that. And that's probably would you say that's because you're a mom?
I think so. Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And probably because that's what I respond to. Like, if somebody's like,
Hmm.
oh, baby, it's okay, you can do it. I'm like, don't, just whatever. But,
I
but
feel you.
if they're like, suck it up, get it done, it's fine. And I think it comes down to, like how you were raised too. So,
Yeah.
like, that's the type of parents I had was suck it up. We signed up for this. We're doing it. Like,
Yeah, you can save your tears for the pillowcase type thing.
exactly.
I respond the same way to tough love. Like are certain occasions I can say that you like just want someone to just give you a hug. Like I know I'm going through a time, but when it comes to reaching a different level in your life or potential, it's like I need tough love. I know I need someone to look at me and tell me the God honest truth, how ugly it may seem to me at first if I don't want to hear it, because that's the way that I'm going to get pushed, not by telling me, oh, at least you're doing your best. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing my best. I need you to tell me that I'm not doing my best. I can do better.
That's me right now during this prep. Like,
Yeah.
I've looked at my ex-husband, I've looked at my best friends, and I'm like, I just want to quit. I don't even want to do this anymore. And they're like, well, it's okay. You've came this far. But
No.
whenever I look at either Dustin or like my posing coach at the gym, I'm like, I'm so over this. And she's done like 28 shows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so over this. She's like, you know what? I don't really care. Keep going. Like,
That's great. Next.
yeah, she's like, okay, cool. Shut up. Let's post.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I would say like with all of what you're doing, confidence is a huge thing, right? And I would say that you're a confident person, and maybe there's areas all of us lack confidence, you could say. But how are you teaching that to people that you coach to? Because I think that's a big element too in either weight loss or just transformation period, is looking at yourself
Oh,
and liking what you see.
and that's a thing that we go over in our consults is we'll ask for your current weight and then your goal weight. And it really bothers me when people do give me an actual goal weight, because I'm like, your
Yeah.
goal should be to look good, to feel good, to be comfortable in your skin.
Yeah.
Um, because like when I started, like I said, I was 300 pounds. I had this goal weight of like 140, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get there. And then I get to 180 and I'm like, hey, I love myself. So like
Mm-hmm.
it really is, that's also where those pictures come into play, like the progress pictures. Like you're going to want to get to the weight that you set for yourself, but if you see like the progress along the line, like you're going to learn to love what's in front of you. It's all about like, and this is so cliche, it's all about like appreciating the journey. Like,
Yes.
you can look at my start picture and I'm obviously super uncomfortable to be standing there in my sports bra and my leggings. But then, like, as I lose 25 pounds, I smile in my progress picture.
Yeah.
As I lose 50 pounds, I'm in shorts and a sports bra. As I lose, 90 pounds, I'm in my bra and panties. So, like, it
Yeah.
progresses as you keep going.
Yeah.
I think it, like, being a part of the fitness community, you could probably attest to this too, that you're never going to be 100% happy. Like, you're always going
Yeah.
to want more for yourself. Um, but there is a sense of pride that comes from looking at where you started to where you're at.
No, definitely. And I think it's so important to love yourself. And I think along like what you say, I don't think it's cliche to say the journey. I mean, I just had a reel about it because it's something that we read everywhere and we see, but like how many of us are actually enjoying like the journey we're on? So the fact that you say you're smiling more, I'm like, me too. Like now that I'm doing things that, you know, really set my soul on fire, you could say, it's like you start to feel happier. But I think,
for sure.
I don't know. Yeah. And I think the fitness community does that. It's a great community to be in if you're on the right side of it, I guess. But it's
Right. Sorry, my dog's
that's fine. My dog's loud too. But I don't do is that what advice, I guess, would you give to someone starting, let's say, a massive weight loss journey? Like, where do you start? You know, because it's easy to be like, I want to be at X pounds or I want to fit into this, but it's like there's so much, as you know, that goes into it.
I think number one is accountability, whether it be a coach, whether it be a friend that you can get started on a journey with you, your husband, your wife, whatever. I think accountability is probably like the number one thing that you need whenever you're starting a major weight loss journey. I started with my ex-husband. I ended up losing 110 pounds in the first 10 months. He lost 130 pounds in the first, I think, 15 months. So like we did everything together. So it's like, I think it's a lot harder for people who don't have accountability. And we have some clients who we are their only accountability, who like their friends and family aren't supportive of their weight loss and aren't supportive of them changing their lives. It is crazy. And it's really sad. Like we have some people send us messages like things that their friends or family have said to them about, you're just going to gain it back anyway. I don't know why you're wasting your money. Like just, it's awful. So like having a supportive system around you is for sure the number one thing.
I was going to say a support system matters so much, whether it's like, for me, it's not
for anything.
Yeah. No, it's not that it was like, it's my family over time, especially with like being on social media. That was like a huge thing for them to like, they didn't even understand the point in me doing this. They didn't even understand what I was doing was an actual like, you know, business, you could say. I'm like, I'm making money from this, like, or, you know, the goal is to do that. And I'm putting myself out there, something against the norm. It's not ever what I grew up with. No one was entrepreneurs. No one owned a business. Like this was like, what? Like that's, you know, so it's like you meet so many people along the way. And for me, it was the military. I was exposed to people of all walks of life that I was like, wow, there's more out there than just like going back home and like doing the 9 to 5 forever, you know? And I think it's so all aspects of life, the support system matters. And I'm not like surprised that people are bashing their family members, but at the same time, it's just disgusting.
It's sad.
It's
or
sad,
like I know that a common thing whenever I first started posting my progress pictures was comments that said, well, you were beautiful before. And even though they feel like they're complimenting you, that's still backhanded because you're like, you could have just said, I'm proud of you, or I'm glad you're happy. Like, you know, not, well, you were beautiful before, but good job. Like,
yeah, that's so interesting that you bring that up. Because I'd seen something recently too, where it's like, wow, it's kind of like a backhanded way of.
It is.
Sometimes that's insecurities in the other person. They're like,
a lot of times,
yeah, because they just want to feel like it's okay for them to be a certain way, or my body's different, or I have really slow metabolism. I'm like, there is so much stuff out there, whether it's holistic or natural.
I actually just had this conversation last weekend. I went home. So I am from rural West Virginia. So small town of 300 people. And it's honestly, if you look it up, it is the opioid capital of the United States. Woo-hoo! That's all it's known for. No, 100% is awful. But everyone there is overweight, for the most part, my family included. So I'm sitting in my grandma's living room last weekend. And like I said, I was 3 weeks out from my show. So I bring all my food in with me just to be able to visit. Snacks included, everything's prepped. And they order pizza and ice cream cake for my kids' birthdays. Well, they're sitting there eating plates of pizza, which is fine. And I'm sitting there with my turkey and rice. And I get, you know, this is a really unhealthy way to live. And I was like, oh, okay. and then it just continues of, you know, you can't just weigh out your food forever. Or you're going to mess up your kid's way of thinking about food if you're weighing your food 24/7, or this mindset isn't healthy. And I'm like, this, like, mind your business, but also this isn't healthy. Like, you know, so it's a battle every time I go back there with that.
Yeah, and I think it's easier for them to put that. I think no one's like, when people like love you and care about you, they're not
Yeah.
intending to hurt you. They're just trying to make themselves feel better by
Right. And I
taking
was
you down.
thinking, I'm
It's
like,
so
my
weird.
kids, if anything, are going to think it is normal to weigh their food because that's all they've ever seen.
Yeah, it's perspective, right? It could be
I'm
half of
like,
them think that and half think the other thing. Who knows?
yeah.
And it's definitely not an unhealthy way of living, and you definitely can do it forever, because some of us are still doing it. I'm not competing anytime soon, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
still weigh it because I'm like, I portion
You want
control
to
in
know what
America.
goes in your body. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm like, if I'm eating 8 ounces of a steak, and I should really only be eating like 4 or 5 depending on the day, it's like I need
Yeah.
to know that.
Right.
That matters. And also, a funny story when you mentioned West Virginia. So I'm from upstate New York, a small town up there, right?
Mhm.
And so in college, we decided to drive down to Florida.
Oh,
And I just
gosh.
remember driving through the part of West Virginia. And all I can remember, this is like years ago at this point, but I just remember West Virginia, it was like just no man's land. But there
Yeah.
was a house that was like a business, I guess. I don't know. We were just passing through, and it was like hot tubs and mattresses, but it was like so sketchy. We're like, oh, you can buy a hot tub mattress. You want a water bed?
Listen, it's so scandalous.
So,
I'm going to send you a link when we hang up of
yeah.
my hometown. It's terrifying.
That's just when I think of West Virginia, I just think of like that moment in time where I was like, well, you can buy a mattress and a hot tub outside on the lawn if you want.
So whenever me and Dustin do our calls, he's from West Virginia too, but he's from like
Yeah.
northern part of West Virginia.
Okay.
And so he'll say, I'm from the part that has street lights. Courtney's from the part that doesn't have lines on the road. Like,
That's so
I'm like,
funny.
yeah, that's me.
Like whatever, it's fine. We don't choose where we're from. I'm from a little town called Farmington, where the biggest traffic is a tractor on the road. Like that's literally where I'm from. And I'm in Texas, where I'm like, I feel like it was more country up there, which is
What
kind
part
of
of
funny.
Texas are you in?
So I'm like an hour north of Austin, so central, but yeah, so not too bad. It's a small
My
town.
show's in Texas, is why I was asking. It's in
Where?
Houston.
Houston? Okay, that's like 3 hours from me. Oh,
Yeah.
You'll have to let me know when it is.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. If you want some supporters out there, that'd be fun. But yeah, so when you brought up kids, my first show that I did in 2020, I wanted my son there super bad. He was 3 years old at the time. And so, wow, this is like 3 years ago.
All of mine will be there. Yep.
Yep. And that was so important to me for them to see, for them, I have one, for him to see me get on the stage and do something that I was really proud of. I just remember seeing him waving in the audience, and, it was like the best feeling in the world, because I wanted him to see me succeed. I wanted him to see me do something. I didn't get a single damn thing, but I was so proud of myself. The second show, I got 2 trophies, but it's like, other than that, I'm like, that first show was a big turning point.
I'm super worried about that because my 5-year-old, like I told you, he's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
So he's honest, brutally honest all the time. And I was telling my ex-husband yesterday, I was like, if I don't win something, Waylon's going to be like, wow, Mom, you suck. Like,
thank you. It's like, the peanut gallery. Literally, everyone will say something different.
That sucks.
Yeah, no, but so with the kids, like inspiring them to live a healthy life, helping that, because I'm sure you have this issue too, where it's like, he's picky now. I'm sure you have some picky eaters, and trying to teach them just to be active, teach them to, at least pick fruits on the occasion, because vegetables right now are a no-go in this household, except for me.
Oh, my kids don't eat any vegetables.
If it's green, it's nope, not at all. Smells gross.
Yeah. So what we do, they eat so many snacks, and it drives me absolutely insane. Especially in the summer. It's like if they don't have something in their hands, they're going insane.
Yeah.
So I give them a certain amount of nasty snacks, like crappy food, and then they can have unlimited fruits, vegetables, yogurt, things that are considered healthy. So I'll be like, hey, you've got, I give them literally like 3 bags of chips, a bag of cookies. Like, it's not like a limited amount, but I'll be like, hey, don't you want to save those for when we watch a movie later or whatever? And I'll be like, how about we grab some fruit and go out on the porch and eat it? Or how about we grab some yogurt? And so like, I make changes like that. I buy them actually the kids Opti Greens, but it's
Okay.
chocolate milkshake flavored.
Yep.
Um, just to be able to get their guts somewhat healthy, because them eating all the crap all the time is not good. So
Yeah.
we buy, Gatorade Zero, and we zero all soda in our house. And so just as far as them being active, I have no issue with that. The only one I
Hmm.
really have an issue with is she's almost 12, and
Yep.
she just likes to stay in her room and not be bothered all the time. So I'll be like, hey, come on, we're going on a walk. And she'll be like, but as soon as we get out there and get moving, it's fine. But um my 5-year-old, he actually joined Cub Scouts last year, and they gave him like I guess like a patch or a pin or whatever for
Yeah.
their accomplishments. And he taught the exercise portion. So he taught everybody how
Oh,
to do push-ups and squats and burpees.
oh, that's
And
awesome.
it was a proud moment. So
I bet. Yeah. So I know that's just a common question with parents who are busy, or they're, people or kids become what their environment is.
yeah,
If I'd stay back home, I probably would be different, probably would never competed. Like things that were just so like, like what are you trying to do?
yeah,
So I think it's very important. I mean, my son's enrolled in jujitsu, and sometimes he complains that it's not enough games, like sharks and minnows. He wants to do that. And I'm like, no, it's
yeah.
training. Like do something, to stay active.
Yeah, we are baseball. We're in baseball right now. We do soccer. I have tons of stuff. Actually, a funny story about the fact that they um think of the gym as their everyday life. I picked up Waylon one day, and he's like, "Mom, did you know that some moms don't go to the gym?" And I was like, yeah, buddy. I mean, some people just don't." And he was like, "Yeah, my friend, I don't know." He was like, he said that they don't go to the gym after school every day. And I was like, really? Because I would pick him straight up and go straight to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. I asked him, like, what do you do every day? And he says he just goes home and plays in his room. And I was like, yeah, okay. Well, some people just don't like the gym. And he was like, I just don't think that's normal. So
He is honest.
I'm like, well, everybody lives a different life, bud. So
Yeah, no, and that's so true because that's just what they're used to. And that's why when he has jujitsu, I train at the same time, it's same gym. And I was like, thank God.
they
It's been
have that here.
amazing.
I've thought about that.
Yeah, and he really enjoys it. And I mean, it's a skill too. So I'm like, okay, as
Yeah.
long as he's interested, if he hates it, then obviously we'll stop. But right now he likes it. But
Yeah.
it's just being creative as a parent and trying to implement those things into their lives to just keep them active. Because I mean, I've seen some severely overweight kids, and I'm like, God, that's so sad to me because I mean, they
Yeah.
don't know any better. They're being
Yeah.
fed
We get
whatever.
contacted a lot to coach kids, and we don't right
Really?
now.
Yeah.
Especially from our area. Like, oh, there's a lot of overweight kids in that area, and we have to wait until they're 18 to work with them. But sometimes I'm like, Dustin, they may not even make it that long. Like, they're so
Ugh.
overweight.
Yeah,
It's
and
sad.
it's an epidemic right now, and I don't think our schools are doing that good. I mean, if I remember the health unit, it was really just like sex ed, and then here's the
Right.
food pyramid that we all know is bullshit these days. Like, it's like, why is sugars even make it on there?
Right. Why do
Which,
we have to have these?
like, do I love it? Of course, I have a sweet tooth sometimes, but
Same.
should it really be on the food pyramid?
Well, I
Probably
think
not.
they've changed it to that my plate thing. And so,
Oh
like, it's a
yeah,
portion of protein. And
yeah.
then, yeah,
Yeah, so I'm like, when
I
we
don't
were
know.
kids, at least, but there's a lot of things schools don't teach that, like, oh, taxes, that would have been great to know. Buying a house.
Right.
uh,
Balancing a checkbook, like
yeah, like, oh, yeah, you don't want to be in the red. The negative is
your
bad.
credit
Okay.
score.
Yeah, like not having credit on. Like, so there's so much stuff, but I think health and wellness is not, I mean, obviously you have like physical education, but I mean,
Yeah, how fast can you run a mile? Like,
yeah, and like I remember when I was like younger, that's how PE used to be. So when my dad was in the military, we were stationed actually out here in Texas, which is weird because I came back to the same area I lived in for like 4 years. We used to have to run a mile, and I was only there from first to fourth grade. So you're telling me my 7-year-old ass or 6-year-old ass was running a damn mile and doing sit-ups and pull-ups? I'm
I
not even
know.
kidding. They don't do that anymore.
The fact that they had us doing pull-ups,
Or
I was
chin
thinking
up, you
about that
hold
the other
it.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, the ultimate goal right now is for me to be able to do a pull-up. And I remember being in elementary school, just like repping them out.
Yeah. And that was a part of physical education. I'm like, I don't think they do that anymore. I'm like, was that like we were in mini boot camp as a kid? I was like, yeah, it used to be so easy. I was just a fast. It didn't matter what kind of Skechers you had on or whatever. I'm like, because my parents didn't care. They're like, whatever's cheapest is the shoes you're getting. So for the longest time, I was like, oh my God, I got like shin splints. Yeah, I'm like, legs are messed up because my feet are weird, it turns out. I'm like, awesome. I love it. But that's so we talked about confidence. We talked about weight loss journey. There's obviously some probably discouragement with to get onto that path. I feel like there has to be some kind of unhappiness or discouragement that kind of leads to this decision. Or maybe it was just I want to live longer. I want to set a good example. What would you say like was your reasoning, and how do you use that to help clients figure out their why for embarking on this journey?
Well, that's what we call it, is our why.
Yep.
And it is so important to figure it out and recognize it before you even get started. Because if your why is, I just want to look good naked, you're probably going to give up as soon as you're like, never mind, it's fine. Like,
This is fine.
But if your why is something bigger than you, then you're going to hold on to it. I remember the day, and it was actually 3 years ago this weekend. I had my 2 boys' birthday parties, and we got them a trampoline for their birthday. And they were like, Mom, come jump, come jump, come jump. And I got on there, and I could only jump for maybe 2 minutes before I was like gasping for air. Yep. And so like that was like a punch in the gut to me, because I mean, I cheered my whole life. I was active. I played softball. And then I guess I hadn't really realized, like even looking at pictures now, I'm like, how did I get that big and not know it? Like it was just pregnancy after pregnancy, raising kids, worrying about work, just completely neglecting myself. And then it came down to the kids are ready to play and they want Mom to jump on the trampoline, and I couldn't even do that. So there is a picture of me and my kids on their birthday on this trampoline, and we're sitting there, and I look absolutely miserable. And after I seen that picture, I was like, no, I got to do something. I cannot do this anymore. And so that very next day, didn't even wait till Monday, because I was like, if I wait till Monday, it'll be gone. I won't do it. So that very next day, it was a Sunday morning, and I woke up and I went to the gym and I got started, and I just never stopped. So
yeah, that's incredible. And I mean, that's something that you actually had a tangible like experience where you're like, I'm going to change this. And I think that hurdle for some individuals, it's harder to actually want to the other end of that. Well,
and I try to think about it as like, me losing 100 and whatever pounds, like that adds about 10 to 15 years onto my life. That's 10 to 15 more years with my kids, with their kids. Like maybe I'll see great grandkids, like,
yeah,
that's just longer that you have with these people. So
yeah. And I think that like longevity is underrated sometimes as a reason. Don't you just want to live longer to see your kids? And some people are like, no, it's fine, because we're in a very weird society right now. I guess you could say weird, like, okay, putting it lightly.
I do. But...
yeah, but it's just like there's so much medication keeping people alive, but it's really their lifeline, which is sad, because I mean, if you look into pharmaceutical companies, they're not necessarily like, they're not going to work forever, or you're just using something to maybe minimize some symptoms, but it's not healing you. Medicine isn't like healing you. It's the foods, right. It's the exercise, it's the interaction. There's so many.
Because if you're taking this medication to lose weight, then you're still not moving, which means your body's still going to hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and all the extra weight on the bones too. It's like that's detrimental. I mean, when I was pregnant, I think I got up to like 170 something, and I like when I was in high school, I was like $120 soaking wet, and then now I'm sitting in like the 140s, like mid 140s consistently. I put on a lot of like muscle weight that now I've kept, because I'm like, okay, I like this version of me. I've seen myself in so many different bodies, but when I had my kid, I was like 170. Like I have a picture too where it's like, the day after you give birth, it's like the stuff, it's like you still have a baby in there type look.
It's so freaky.
I know. I was just like, there's nothing in there anymore. I'm like, what the heck? And then I was so stressed out about like, what am I going to do? Because I was in the military at the time. I'm like, I need to lose all this. I need to be able to be active. And I was so obsessed with it. But obviously your kid is going to take like, my life completely changed once he was born. I was like, I just want to spend time with you. And like, that's it. But the active part was definitely, that was huge for me. I was like, I need to prove myself again as a leader. I need to put myself out there. And then my body only has gotten better since after having a kid.
And that's what I tell people all the time. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I'm a mom. I can't. I'm like, let me tell you
I've
something.
seen some
I
hot
look
moms
way
out there.
better now than I did in high school. Like, maybe not
Yeah.
naked, but like, but like as far as muscle mass goes, and like
Yeah.
the toned look is going to take precedence over the skinny look any day.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I have not had muscle like this. I'm like, I didn't know I had curves underneath there. I was like, what? You just have to do a few squats or something, even if it's an air squat. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, I didn't know my body could do this because I was never an athlete growing up. Could not you hand me any kind of ball? Not going to happen. I did track and field. And even then I was like, nah, I'm just doing it to do something. Like my parents said I had to
That's
do
so funny
something.
because I would have thought you were an athlete.
E-
100%.
e- Everyone thinks that. I'm like, nope. I got cut from many teams. That is like I did a little bit of cheerleading, and I was like, this is too dramatic for me. And then I did a little bit of soccer, got cut from softball, was not good at it. I didn't even like it. It's my sisters did it. So I was like, oh, I have to try. My sister made it. I did not make the team that year. Very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. My baby sister. And all of them were athletes. They all did sports. It was not me. I was very much, I'm just going to work, make money, do whatever. And then when I got to college to do ROTC for the Army, that's when I discovered my inner athlete. I was like, you can go to the gym and you're not an athlete. I thought gyms were for athletes. I had no concept of what was out there in the world. And like ever since then, the bodybuilding people are like, oh, you must have been an athlete. I'm like, no, like I like to say I'm a self-made athlete, but it's just I pulled something out of me I didn't know. And I had people who gave me tough love in the Army that were like, you're better than this. You have so much potential. They saw something in me before I did. And that was incredible.
And everybody needs those people.
Yeah.
And that's like that's Dustin for me. That's my coach Randy at my gym. Like they're like, you don't even know what's in you. And I'm like, I'm glad y'all see it. Like
someone has to.
Somebody has to, because I just don't.
I didn't at first, and now I'm just like, wow, the fact that people are inspired by some things I've done. I'm like, because the thing is, body after baby can be either the detriment of you or it can be the kick in the ass, because my body after, like I said, has been better after my kid. I have to thank him for that. Maybe there was something that, something came out of I don't know. But it's been amazing. I mean, I love the fitness community. I love being an athlete in this sense. So it's fun. But I guess the next thing I wanted to talk about that kind of spurred my attention was like the idea of body positivity these days. I think I want to know your take on it. And I'll briefly explain mine. Is like I think it's taken a turn towards more of not a negative, but not the right focus.
Would think so. I used to be all for it, but this is really bad. I used to be all for it when I was heavier, because I was like, oh, these people are telling me it's okay. I feel like it's enabling. I feel like it is them saying, yep, it's okay to be overweight. It's okay to eat what you want to eat. It's okay to look however you want to look. When I think of body positivity, like in my sense, if I'm considering myself body positive, that's me saying you can be whatever version of healthy you want to be, whether that be bodybuilding style, powerlifting, there are different size, shapes, forms of people in all of those communities. Like that's why we've got, bikini, physique, we've got transformation, all of those categories. As far as powerlifting, that's why there's weight classes. So like you don't have to be a specific size. I think as long as you are being active and you are fueling your body with what it needs and you are working towards being a healthier, better version of yourself, then it is okay to be body positive. But I don't think considering yourself body positive and then just feeding yourself absolute crap, not moving, not doing anything to work towards a better version of yourself, I think that's just enabling yourself to stay comfortable and stay where you're at. Whereas you're not going to grow if you're not uncomfortable.
Yeah. And there's some big like superstars you can say out there, celebrities that try to push certain agendas that it's perfectly okay. I think there's one thing to be self-accepting of just humans, right? There's humanism in that. That's
Yeah.
fine. And do I judge you for how you live? No, it really doesn't affect me. I only have so many fucks to give, and it's not going to be for an individual doing whatever
Right.
they want to do. However, if we're going to push the agenda that it's okay to be unhealthy, it's okay to shorten our lives, and to tell our kids that that's okay, or each other, like, no, I don't think you should stand on that pedestal and say that. I don't think you have a right to tell anyone
Yeah.
how to live their life. But I do think it's taken a weird turn where it's like, we're just going to just embrace what you are, because that's, you have no control over it. Like,
I think it's okay to embrace what you are and who you are if, like I said,
yeah,
if you're working towards bettering yourself. But if
yeah,
you're just saying, oh, here I am and I'm overweight and this is where I'm staying because it's okay, it's not.
yeah.
So,
Like, unless you have some crazy like medical condition or something. Like, I know, again, like we said, there are reasons for things.
mhm.
However, if we're just not willing to explore our own potential, I think that's a disservice to ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm like, I think it's an interesting topic that will probably raise like, oh my God, that's horrible. Or like, I feel like triggered, but I'm like, I don't censor my guests. I don't censor myself, because I'm like, this is my opinion. This is America,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, that's my
Like
take
I
on it.
said, when it made me feel like I wasn't alone whenever I was on the bigger side of things, which is a nice feeling to have a community for
Yeah.
people to be like, oh, you're beautiful the way you are. And you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Everybody is
Everybody is.
beautiful. But if you're not working to better yourself, then you're doing yourself, like you said, a disservice.
Yeah. And I think honestly, it's an incredible journey to see what your body can do. And
Well, and
yeah.
by bettering yourself, it doesn't even necessarily have to be physically. Like if you are
Yeah.
just working towards a better mental state, a better financial state, just
Yeah.
bettering yourself in some form or fashion.
Yeah. I was talking about that on my story today. Not that, but like the fact that like life is so short. We're all going to die. Everyone you love is going to die one day. Like, that's such a real thing. And because of that, from that, everyone's going to die,
That was
right?
morbid.
But my thing was like, what are you going to do in the time that you have? What are you going to give your fucks towards? Like, what is
Yeah.
worthy of you caring about? And I think yourself should be a part of that, because like,
Top the list.
right? And it's like, we like to put ourselves lower because we put, like, as women, I like to say, as moms and wives, we tend to want to do so much for the people that we love and care about, which doesn't mean you have to not do that. But don't forget yourself in the mix, because happy mom and happy wife are going to make for,
Yeah.
you have to be happy first.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes. And that's,
So,
I love that phrase. That's so true. Oh, excuse me. Woo. So I would say, what kind of relationships and interactions have you had on this journey that you're on right now? Have there been any negative things, and how do you combat it? Or have there been more positive, which I hope?
yes, more positive. I was absolutely terrified of the gym at first because I thought it was full of people who thought they were better than everybody.
Yeah.
So for the first probably 5 months, I did not like the way my gym was set up. All the cardio was equipment was as soon as you walked in, and then you had to walk past all that to go into the weight room. I spent the first 5 months of my weight loss journey on a bike, on a stationary bike, and I could bike 35 miles before I'd walk over to those weights. And so I lost 60 pounds doing that. And then one day I woke up and I was like, I think I want to go to the other side of the gym today. And
wow.
my very first day, my very first day in the other side of the gym, somebody recorded me and made fun of me. And it absolutely broke my heart. I was
Oh
like
my God.
traumatized. And from that point, it was, I'm going to be the person in the gym who, even though like people are intimidated by like the tattoos, the shaved head, piercings and stuff, I'm going to be the person that if somebody looks my way, I'm smiling at them. If
Yeah.
they're doing something wrong, I'm walking over and saying, hey, do you need help? Like,
Yeah.
so I have made it that point in every single gym I've been in to be like
Wow.
the person who is approachable. Like I don't want anyone to ever feel uncomfortable. So I've made a lot of really cool friendships that I wouldn't have otherwise made. Like
Yeah.
my friends at my gym right now, my ex-husband laughs at me all the time because I don't have a whole lot of female friends,
Yeah.
but the ones at my gym right now are very Southern Belle. They're very like proper and the complete opposite of me. No tattoos, blonde, my husband works and I don't. And and he's like, who are you? Like, these are your friends. And I'm like, I just befriend everyone now. So like I've made a lot of like unusual friendships, but then also a negative thing that's come from it is that you realize after you lose a significant amount of weight that skinny privilege is a thing. People treat you so much different when you're not fat. Like whenever you're fat, you are worried about how much space you're taking up in a room. You're more reserved, you're more quiet, or you're the opposite end and you use it as a defense mechanism and you're loud and obnoxious just so people don't point out the things that you think they're going to point out about you. But like realizing that I am treated different when I'm smaller was like a punch in the face. Like that was like one of the hardest things for me to accept. Like there are people who made fun of me whenever I first started on my journey that were like, oh, you're going to give up, you're going to do this. Like people I went to high school with that now that I'm divorced, they're like, hey, you want to get a drink when you come home? I'm like, absolutely not. No, I don't. You remember I was fat 2 years ago and you made fun of me? No, I'm good. Like I even ran into this girl at a bar the last time I was home. We had about a 10-year reunion and this girl was like, I don't remember you. And like, I went to school with like 40 people, you know? So like, so I'm like, yes, you did. But she's like, I don't remember you. My best friend from high school was sitting there. She was like, well, you should. You made her life hell. You were really mean to her.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, it's just that I was fat then. That's why you don't remember me. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. So like, it's just, it's a whole adjustment, realizing that you just get treated so much better whenever you're smaller.
It's crazy to me. And the fact that someone like made fun of you, because one of the things is like they tell you is that no one really cares what you're doing in the gym. There's so many. I go to a really grungy gym where there's like some crazy bodybuilders, and then there's people just on their little weight loss journey or their whatever. They just go in there and they're just busting it out. Like great, like awesome people. But it's like the thing you think is like, if I put a cell phone up, is anyone going to be looking at me when I take a video of myself? Like, you know, I had so much like, you know, even now I still have like some like it gets a little like hard to do because I'm trying to get my workout in.
Because of that experience, so now when I record myself in the gym, if somebody's in the background, I'll walk up to them and I'll say, hey, I was taking a video of myself and you're in the background. Do you care if I post it? Because it doesn't matter what they look like, whether they're overweight, in shape, whatever, because I just remember seeing that video of myself online, seen it online, and it like traumatized me. So it's a different feeling for sure.
Yeah, and I like that you took that experience though and made it into a positive. Not many people would have done that and taken.
I know, and that's what I hate is that, you know, that could have happened to somebody who would have been like, okay, I don't belong here.
And they'll never go back.
Yeah. And like, so I actually, one of my very best friends, so I have two best friends, and one of my very best friends I actually met in the gym. She posted on like a community page and she was like, hey, I'm looking for a trainer. And I was like, listen, at the time I wasn't a trainer. I was like, listen, I'm not a trainer, but I've lost like 80 pounds. I'm looking for somebody to work out with. You're more than welcome to join me. And she was one of those people who was like, I'm terrified. I can't go in there. I can't go in there. And so now she's done her first show. She's like helping women all the time in the gym. And so like, you know, it's a chain reaction. Like you give out the kindness and it just keeps going.
I love that. And we talk about that on here with other women too. I mean, it's the same thing. It's a chain reaction. And the whole point of me making this a women's like platform to speak on their journey is for that exactly. Like I never found myself having a ton of female friends, whether it was just like the cattiness or it was just, you know, it's whatever weird women's stuff. It's tough. And I've been in male dominant industries, so I'm surrounded by dudes. So my personality is much more catered towards like the relaxed, like whatever. So it's very, I feel like that's why we get along. It's kind of just like, you know, it's just, we're just used to a certain communication style. Like I'm not out there shopping
Very
for handbags.
straightforward, not
Yeah.
passive aggressive.
No, I don't have time for passive aggressiveness. I'm like, I'm going to tell you as it is. If you don't like it, my face will tell you. Like my face will say it or my mouth will. But that's crazy. Like, I love that you took that though, because it's the chain reaction I'm looking for on here too. Is just women helping women. There's enough pie for everybody. You can uplift each other. It's going to make you feel better too, to just smile at someone who is, at the gym. Like you said, like I love to just give someone a smile. It might change their whole day. When someone compliments something or asks what I'm doing at the gym or why I elevate my heels for something or whatever they ask, I absolutely love the opportunity to teach. I just love it. And I'm like, wow, you're actually looking at me to like ask something.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I never was the subject matter expert. And now it's like, people are like, wow, like you look insane. And I'm
like,
actually,
this morning, this girl walked up and she was like, hey, I need hamstring exercises. So I'm like, okay.
To get on a notepad. Yeah. I absolutely love it. And I think the other thing I was really nervous about for a while before I, was competing or anything was like what to wear to the gym, right? I used to like you wouldn't see me
when
anything.
You feel good about what you're wearing, you feel good about the workout.
Exactly. I'm like, so that's why I encourage people, if you want to go buy that cute little outfit from whoever, like do it, wear it. If that's what it's going to motivate you to go to the gym is because you look great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like whatever you have to do to get there.
I'm so jealous of girls who look like they have their life together in the gym. Like I walk in there looking homeless, like straight up.
Like, do you have a membership here?
Like, I just need a shower.
No, it's like sometimes it's like that though. If I'm coming after a full day of work and it's warehousing and sales, I'm like, I'm just sweaty, disgusting, probably need some deodorant, haven't reapplied, didn't pack it in my bag. I'm like, sorry about it, but I'm going to hit the gym. But that's so true. It's like what to wear. Like some people look like they have their life together. I'm like, you care sometimes. Like if it's on the weekend, I have some time to like pick out an outfit. Otherwise, I'm like, this is what I'm wearing. I'm probably still wearing the shirt from work. I'm like, whatever.
I know everybody was asking if there was going to be like a link for my show. And I was like, yeah, I'll send it to you guys, but you're not going to recognize me. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, nobody here has ever seen me in makeup, has never seen me with my hair done.
Tanned.
Like, tan. I'm pale. Like,
but it's like orange. It's like, and it gets on everything. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so cool, and I hope that I can make it out to it because I'm like, I want to see. I'm teetering on the should I do another competition? I liked the prep period, like I liked and hated it at the same time, but it was fun. It was like moving towards something and being able to check in and posing. Like posing was like really difficult for me.
Posing, I feel like a robot. I'm just so robotic with it.
Yeah, it's very like, and when you watch other people, they're so flowy, and that's the easy part for them. Like that was the hardest thing for me, was like not being so rigid.
I look like on White Chicks how they're stomping around in those hills.
They're so uncomfortable too, and you're like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life? But it's gonna be so worth it, and it's like a exhilarating feeling once you get up there, because it's almost like try not to cry. I did this. Like. It's amazing.
I'm such an emotional person too. I think it's because I'm hungry right now, but like
that's so true. Hunger. My stomach is where my actual heart lies. So but it's been fun talking to you, Courtney. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. You are an inspiration. I've already gotten DMs, like I said, like asking for this, and they can't wait to hear about it. So I'm so thrilled you came here. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. It's super cool.
Absolutely. And I'm happy that we did meet back in, oh my God, what is it? Almost a year now, or
about a year. Yeah.
About a year ago, I met you in person and you looked like a completely different person.
I was very freshly postpartum then too. I look at those pictures now and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I went looking like that.
Well, it was a strange, it was unpredictable for all of us, so it's okay. But no, I was really happy I met you, and I'm glad that we connected because like post, the whole thing, because this was a great conversation. It's going to continue to inspire other people. So let everyone know where they can find you for coaching or just to follow your journey.
Okay, so for coaching, you can go to ANS. A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, WV.com. We have all of our coaching options there. As far as my journey, you can follow probably best on Instagram at CourtDawn95.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Courtney. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the listeners. This has been Risk Valor. Be adaptable, be reckless.